Oh, that's that. I guess I win. All right, let's talk about Eliminator Bolt Duel because I have some thoughts. All right, so
That's a good
Eliminator Bolt
game.
Duel. Um, so my thesis statement for this game is it is simultaneously better than I thought it was gonna be, while also being worse than I thought it was gonna be. Gabe says, not gonna lie, it looks fun. Okay, so to be clear, this was fun. This was fun. We
Yeah.
definitely had some fun. I gotta say, this game has a lot of systems to it, actually. Like, for the fact that, first of all, like, going through the boat, there's, like, three different ways to play the boat. You have your start, which is a brief side-scrolling thing. Then you have your top-down sections. And then you have the drag race section where you're kind of, like, going forward, which is almost F-Zero-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
My initial impressions of the top-down segments was I didn't think they were that great. After we got to play them a little better, I started to enjoy them a little more. They're still not my favorite, but I was really about those top-down set. I mean, I'm sorry, the F-Zero like section where you're just going forward. Those were my favorite. They felt really cool. You're going forward. It feels like an F-Zero game, honestly. And the fact that you can play that with another person, unlike an OG F-Zero, which you couldn't. That was really cool. I can see how it would get boring after a while, but if you're playing with someone and you're actually actively racing, it's fine. It's fine. Single player content, kind of lacking. Like you got your, it seemed this way, but it seemed like you have the one opponent in easy, you have the one opponent in normal, and the one opponent in hard. So this is definitely more of a multiplayer game with just a little bit of single player content just to like give you stuff to do. But the most fascinating thing about this game is the money system, where money is it's almost like your health in a way because you have to like gather money, and then after every single race you have to like put cash into your boat to make it better for the next race. I think that's fascinating. I think this game has a lot of cool systems to it. Like this was definitely a fun game. I think it's just a little flawed in some areas, like little again lacking the single player content. The top 10. Oh, I didn't mention this. Those C segments, they can hurt your eyes. That's definitely a problem. Like we had the same problem when we were playing Scat, where we went to that one elevator level and we were just like our eyes started to get
My
bothered.
God.
Yeah, Gabe, 100%. Multiplayer was the best part of this game. It is actually a blast. Once you and another person know how to play this game, it's a blast. We started off doing the multiplayer on this stream, and we were coming out of it like but then we both learned on our own how to play the game by doing the single player missions, and then we went back to multiplayer. And once two people know what they're doing, that can go much longer, and then it becomes much more entertaining in that regard. So, yeah, great. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, like it's such a fascinating game because it does some things so well, and then
Mm-hmm.
some things don't work as that well. So like the F-Zero segments, like you said, are like my favorite part as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really fun and it's really fluid and it feels really good to play. And I think the money system is like probably like one of the best parts of the game. 'Cause I've
Yeah,
never
I
seen
agree.
I don't think I've ever seen an NES game that lets you like carry over something from one level and like use it to
Yeah.
upgrade something like an upgrade system basically.
Yeah, an
Like
upgrade
you see
system
all
in an NES
now.
game. We read that the subscription in the credits, and I was just like, "Excuse me, this game has an upgrade system." Like, continue though. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of like when you're playing multiplayer, you kind of have that tug of war thing where like you're winning, so you're getting more money, so you're both can be even better. But then if I end up doing well in one round, I can kind of like get a little bit of advantage and make my boat match up to yours. And it's kind of like this like push and pull of like I'm getting money, I'm losing money, I'm getting more, I'm losing it. So it's a lot of fun. Like even though it can get kind of like samey, repetitive, like going through the same
Sure.
maps, it is still pretty enjoyable because you are, like you said, we're getting better at the game and kind of learning how to avoid obstacles and like figuring things out. Um, yeah, the only thing lacking for me would be like the single player stuff, and like I kind of wish the whole game was kind of like the F-Zero segments, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
no,
it does
it's fun.
it does give a little variety to it, but yeah, I can agree with that. I will. Oh, first off, Ray Ban Whistle is throwing out some emotes in the chat, like a fire emoji and like a heart emoji. But yeah, I will give credit where it's due though. Like the fact, like the F Zero parts were definitely my favorite to control, but the top down one, I could see if that was like fine tuned a little, that'd be interesting because there are aspects of it I like. First of all, it's where you have the most freedom of where your boat goes. So you have like all these different movements of where you can go. And also the fact that you can eliminate your opponent, which I did in one of those matches there where I just jumped on you and your boat was just like totaled.
Yeah.
So like it's very that's where the eliminator parts of the title comes in, like eliminator boat duel, because you can absolutely eliminate your opponent. It's easiest to do on those top down segments, but it is 100% possible to also do it on the F-Zero sections where you're going forward, as we saw in that other segment. It's much harder to do, and depending on your upgrades, it could be very difficult to do, if not impossible. But yeah, this game has a lot of systems. It really does. It's hard. It's hard. It's difficult for me to actually grade this one because it's fun. It's a fun game. It's actually fun to do, especially when you have two people that know what they're doing. But this game, this game is like I would say lacking in content for sure. Like for example, let's see. Raven Whistle saying can use damage to boost. Yeah, you can. Like when you're jumping on your opponent, you can use them to boost, for example, and that helps you as well. Yeah, so it's just like you have like the single player, which again is really not much. If anything, I would even describe the single player as a tutorial to actually learn how to play the game. If you and a friend both did the single player mode and got good enough at it, and then went against each other online in the two player mode or local or online, I think that's where the real game comes in. I think this really was meant to be a multiplayer game, and your single player is really just teaching you how to do it. Like if a game like this came out today, like modernized with like boat stuff like that, and a lot of people knew about it, this could like be like could even be a hit. But right
Yeah,
now,
but
it's like as it is, it's an NES game, of course, like a free offering that you can get on your Nintendo Switch Online service. So a lot of people would give this game a try that probably wouldn't have already, like us, for example, on that note. But it's not quite like far-reaching enough to do it. Like if you again, I must emphasize, if you and another person really know how to play this game, those multiplayer games can get hype. But that's the tricky part. You got to convince another friend of yours to say, "Hey, play this single player mode in this game you've never heard about, so we can have some hype multiplayer matches." And said friend might be like, "Well, why don't we just play Smash or Mario Kart or something like that?" Like,
yeah,
yeah, and it's good. It's a very hard sell. I can like all I can really say about this game is like I think the multiplayer on itself can really hold up, even if it's a tad bare bones, because those matches can get chaotic. But if we're talking about the game as a package, it's difficult for me to say this holds up because it's just kind of not enough. It's just kind of not enough. And what is there could be better. But all that being said,
yeah,
this is a game that like I've said that about all three games here so far. But there's been games I've said don't waste your time. There's been games that definitely play this. This is the one I would actually really encourage you. And if you find that you enjoy the game, then do the impossible task of finding another person to say, "Hey, try this game so we can have some multiplayer matches," and you might actually have a good time. There's more to it than say if you were to pick up tennis in the NES or like golf in the NES. Oh, Ray-Ban Whistle just followed. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Much appreciated. It's a tougher sell. I think this is a more entertaining multiplayer game than a lot of the other NES games on here. It's just really gonna be hard to sell people. That's my take on it. There's a lot of people that they're gonna play this game and immediately be turned off on it because I did that top down segment and I did not want to play, but I kept doing it anyway because I knew there had to be more, and there was, and I'm glad that we kept going because it ended up being a fun experience. So yeah, Eliminator Bolt Duel. Good to play with friends, probably not by yourself.
yeah. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.